folks, hope you're well. My name's Greg. I'm a senior lecturer at the Staffordshire Games Institute. I have the wonderful ICVFX projects open, which you can grab from the Epic Games Launcher for free. I'm going to explore a couple of helpful tricks that you can use to dial in your renders and debug your games. Let's look at the first, bookmarks. Bookmarks are a fantastic way to save a location that you can easily jump back to. Let's explore. So when we're working in an environment like this, we might come to a situation where we go, I like something like this in terms of its framing and general location, but I'm not quite ready yet to set up a camera. Well, let's say we want to keep this location for later. A way of doing that is we scroll up to the camera options here at the top, scroll down to the bookmarks menu, go across to set, and we pick a corresponding bookmark. In this example, I'm going to pick number 2. Okay. So let's wander around the environment a little bit. So let's look over here and let's say I want to now go back to that bookmark. I can come straight back to that menu and click bookmark 2. And there you go. It pops straight back. Now in practice, folks, I don't really use the UI. I tend to use the shortcuts because they're nice and quick really for this. So if we find something else that I might like the look of, so let's go something like this. I'm going to press Control and 3. And that does exactly the same as setting the bookmark. And let's again move somewhere random. And I can jump back to that bookmark by now pressing the corresponding number on the keyboard. So it was 3, and we go straight back. And I can also access the one that I had a moment ago via the menu, which was 2, and also the view that I'd done prior to the video starting, which was 1. So this is a really nice way to create these sort of memorable areas around your world that you might want to revisit, create cameras for, detail, or explore in further detail later on. However, what if we want to share something like this with team members? Well, perhaps we've got a problem in our scene, and I so happen to have previously set one of those up. So I'm going to jump to this location here, and you can see I've got a very strange particle effect. Maybe I want to talk to my team members and go, can you see this? Does this work in the same way for you? Now, in order to do that, what we need to do is pop open the output log. And I'm going to do that by pressing Control Space and docking my content browser. And I'm going to go up to my window here and drop the output log. And my preference is normally to have these two side by side, as I'm often jumping between the two. Then I'm going to clear this log so that there's nothing but my own sort of commands in there. And I'm going to type the command BugIt, like so, and press enter. And what this gives us is a new command here called BugITGo, and then a series of numbers. And this relates to the transform coordinates of this particular view. So I can copy these, and my next steps would be to paste this on communication platforms like Teams, Slack, Jira, or whatever it is that you're using. And I can then paste this back into the console like so. And you'll see it snaps straight back to that view. So this is really helpful when you're trying to point out issues and you've got multiple artists or developers working in the same level. And they can literally snap right to a location where there might be a problem. So I find that super helpful. Now, for the final thing that we're going to explore, we're just going to have a look at another way that we can use the console. And we've probably all been in a situation where we've used a console variable, we're not quite sure what it does. Now, I'm going to pick something that is very sort of aggressive, so it's quite obvious for the video. I'm going to look at r.tonemapper.sharpen, and we can see that the values here is kind of less than 0, it's kind of off, half, full strength. We've got variety here. We can even go past 1 if we want this to be extreme. So I'm going to put a ridiculous number in for the moment, which is 10. And you can see this is almost like stylized, posterized in the sort of aggressiveness that it's got. Now, if I want to see this, obviously I can type these in, I can put multiple numbers in, but perhaps I want to cycle between some options. And there's a really nice command called AB Test. And this allows us to feed in a console command with 2 options. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I type in the r.tonemapper.sharpen, I can say I want it as -1 that it was set to originally, and I don't know, let's say 3. And what Unreal will do now is it will cycle, once I've pressed enter, between these two options. So if I press enter now, our viewport will keep toggling between these options, which is really nice. And that shows us then what this is actually doing. And I can type the command AB test stop to turn this off. Now what will happen is it's going to leave you with that original state, and you can then go and dial in and set whichever one you think is the best for you. So I hope you find that interesting, folks, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.